Good afternoon, and welcome to the final day of TCA
Day 3, baby.
Truckload Strong 2024.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We're back.
And, we've wrapped up this year. We're wrapping up this year with a heck of a lineup.
Yep. Well, this show, not this year. We're still early in the year.
Yeah, fair enough. We're wrapping up this year's conference.
Yes.
Year's conference with a heck of a lineup. I'm trying to flip back to my notes here. So we had Kevin O'Leary this morning as a speaker, and
Mr. Wonderful.
Mr. Wonderful.
Was he wonderful?
Oh, yeah,
actually, it was pretty good. I know you weren't able to make it.
I was not. No, I had a previous engagement.
Yeah, you had a speaking engagement that you needed to attend. So, but I was really impressed with his message this morning, and I'm going to put out a bunch of content on that. But do you guys have? Well, first off, we'll do a quick once around because we have a couple other people on here, and because of how tight we are on time, we have Dart Transit's Vice President of Safety. Did I get that right?
Yes.
Randy Luckow, right?
Yep. Luckow.
Luckow. Sorry. So, Randy, let's do a quick intro. You want to tell us a little bit about yourself?
I'm Randy Luckow, Vice President of Safety at Dart Transit Company. I've been at Dart about 20 years. I've been in the trucking industry for well north of 35 years. Started out as a delivery driver back in the early 80s.
6?
Pardon me?
Started when you were 6?
No, I was a little bit older. But I started out as a delivery driver, and then I went to work for a carrier in their operations department, and ended up at Dart about 20 years ago in operations, and I moved from there to our driver training group, and then on to safety for the last 8 years or so.
Wow.
How long have you been in your role as VP of Safety?
In this current role, I've been VP for about 3 years.
Awesome.
Great. And then Mr. Turner.
How you guys doing? Mike Turner here, Vice President of Sales and Operations at GLCS. And Randy here, worked with Randy for 10 years. I used to run the Northeast short haul division for Dart Transit Company, so I know Randy very well. So just glad to catch up with him during this conference. And, we thought we'd have him on to talk about what's going on with Dart and our safety initiatives and things of that measure. So thanks for having me on, guys, and we'll continue the show.
I do want to say that Turner's alternate role at GLCS is Chief Scotch Officer.
Chief Scotch, yeah. We're going to put that tagline on his business card.
100%.
McAllen, that is.
Yes.
CSO,
Yes.
Chief Scotch Officer.
Love it.
So, I don't want to tie up too much time on Kevin O'Leary because I want to give time for Randy to speak. But something that Kevin O'Leary mentioned when he opened was there's two pieces of information that he gets from his 50 some odd companies every Wednesday. And that was sales numbers and cash flow numbers. And that's all that he needs to tell a story to determine whether or not he needs to dive into more information on that company on a weekly basis. And I thought that was interesting. And then after that, there was some questions that were asked about what else do you or should you look into beyond that? And it started talking about culture and how important that was. And he said, you need to service as a founder, as a leader, and I definitely completely agree with this. As a founder, as a leader in your organization, you need to service your customer, you need to service your employee, and then you need to service your bank and investors. And you, as the founder and employer, are the last in that pecking order. And any successful business owner understands this. So, and then finally, he said, and we were talking about this yesterday, is when it's time to make cuts in an organization, that you make one cut, you make it fast, and you take care of the people that you cut.
Measure twice, cut once.
Right. And when you do cut them, that you take care of them. And that way it's known that when you have to do something that isn't fun, that you try to make a soft landing pad for those people when you do that.
So what you don't do is find out your VPN can't handle people being home and cut 700 people and hope they're not competes.
Oh, nobody does that, right?
I mean,
Okay.
I'm not going to say any names.
Let's roll on. So Randy. Yeah.
If you don't know, Randy, I like talking a lot of smack.
Yeah.
Picking up on it.
Yes.
Strongest man logistics.
Right. I was just talking about that with somebody, and they said strongest man logistics. So that's just a tagline, right? I go, no, it's real.
Oh yeah, the numbers are real. The numbers are there.
Trademark.
Numbers are real. So yep. All right, Randy. So tell us about Dart Transit.
Well, Dart Transit's a family-owned business. We're celebrating 90 years
Congratulations.
coming up here. Yeah, so I mean, we've been in business a long time, family-owned. One of the things you were talking about earlier is, kind of the culture of the company. And that's what Kevin O'Leary was talking about this morning. And Dart Transit's always had a great culture. I've been there 20 years. A lot of people have been there a lot of years. We have drivers that have been there a lot longer than I have. So it's the culture and the feel that people have, and it's a big family.
Great.
So when people talk about culture, I want to touch on that. I think especially a trucking company, safety culture is a big thing, right?
Yep.
Being the VP of safety, how do you inject safety without being the bad guy into the culture piece?
Well, the thing is safety's got to be involved in all aspects of your business. From our, the real key is having our operations team, really promoting safe driving behavior, and talking to their drivers on a regular basis about that. And that's really kind of what makes us successful in that area. It's very helpful, when they're hearing it from their driver, or when they're talking to their drivers, the drivers are hearing the same safety messages that they're going to hear if they're talking to somebody in the safety department. Because quite honestly, they don't always want to talk to somebody in the safety department.
Very fair.
Yeah.
Very fair.
But they are talking to their fleet managers every day. So, we make sure that message is loud and clear throughout our whole company from top down. And that's what's really been a key for us.
And those that perform that way, they're rewarded for it, they're recognized for it.
Absolutely.
And it's the example. You said correct.
Correct.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Love that.
Yep.
Good stuff. That's good stuff. So Randy, being you started out in operations, you were a leader in the operations. How did you transition into the safety sector, or what did you learn as being a leader in the operations group? How did that help you when you transitioned into the safety area?
Oh, it helped immensely, because I didn't just come into the safety department, understanding the compliance issues and things like that. I mean, I really understood, what does it take for our drivers to pick up a load and deliver it safely at the destination, because that's what we do. We're a service company, and we pick up and deliver freight. So, understanding what the drivers have to go through to make that happen. And deliver it safely and on time for our customers. It really helped me in the safety department, because the drivers have a ton of kind of things that get in their way.
Absolutely.
And keep them from doing their job safely. So they've got to adapt continually, almost minute by minute while they're driving, and making sure that they're staying safe.
Mm-hmm. And getting home to their families. That's the ultimate goal, is that you deliver the freight, you collect the revenue, but you get home safe and you get to enjoy that with your family.
Yes.
Yeah. I think that's imperative. So so just to reiterate, you started in operations.
Yes.
And you moved into safety, and that's I think super key. I think that makes that safety leader so much more valuable. Just having that lead in. And that valuation between, the experience of working with the driver on the day-to-day basis versus, and feeling their pain, feeling the day-to-day pain, understanding what it's like to tell them, hey, I need you to take that load even though you don't want to. I understand what it's like to take that extra dispatch even though you don't want to.
Pick up that empty and move it before you go get your load.
Right.
I would love to give them that conversation.
Yeah.
Versus, when you do talk to safety, there's probably something that you're not going to want to hear coming shortly after that. Because I started as a driver, and I've worked with thousands of drivers over my career. And as a driver, I remember whenever I had to talk to safety, unless it was in a large group setting, but if it was an individual setting, it probably wasn't going to be a good conversation.
No, those are never easy conversations to have with drivers. But you know what? I mean, we're here to help coach and mentor the drivers so that they can learn a new way of doing something. I mean, it's not a disciplinary action that we're trying to achieve. We're trying to say, okay, there's a better way to do what you were just doing. So let's kind of talk through that. Let's explain why this way is better.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely. I think bridging. So we talk a lot about this, and I've been trying to not. I use the word bridging a lot, and today's just a horrible. I mean,
Yeah, not a good day to say that.
What a horrible event. But it's hard to remove that word from my from my vocabulary. But bridging the different departments within an organization, bridging different areas in the industry. Having that experience that you have allows you to do that. And that's great that you have that. So you're able to then teach your team, and I think you have someone that used to work for me on your team as well,
Randy.
Yep. So
Yep.
And what she's when she started, she had no experience. I don't think she had any experience in transportation when she started working for me many moons ago. That was another lifetime.
Well, today she's got a lot of compliance experience, and she's very
I hear
knowledgeable.
she's a rock star now.
She is
Yeah,
absolute rock star.
I got to bump into her at a Minnesota Trucking Association event a few years ago. So that was before I started doing a lot of public speaking, and that was a rough event. So, but
I think that's what you told me about.
it might have been.
Yeah.
So we won't go there either right now.
Fair.
Yeah.
So did you have some other key messages that you wanted to kind of bring up? We've got about 5 minutes
Randy,
left. Couple minutes.
I ran into Randy and his wife, as I was walking into the hotel check-in area, and Randy and I were catching up, and he was telling me, some things are going on as far as CSA and, brake inspections and things of that nature. So I definitely want to give Randy some time to kind of discuss, some of that topic for the listeners out there, because he's got a lot of knowledge in it. And so, Randy, can you speak to what our conversation was?
Yeah, so specifically, we were talking about CSA and we were talking about vehicle inspections.
Mhm.
One of the things that's kind of come, along the horizon here with new technology is something that, law enforcement is using in their tire anomaly devices. So, as a driver is rolling into that inspection station, they've got a device that's measuring the width of those tires. And if that tire looks a little wide or fat, that's a sign that it's probably underinflated. So, that's going to be one more checkpoint where, the driver's going to get, pulled in and checked. And the inspectors are able to do that, just in a flash, because we're just rolling over this device. Right. So they know before they even look at the tire, what the problem is.
These are tractors, right? These aren't trailers or tractors.
Well, it can be both, but
Okay.
we see more tractor tires than anything. And the thing is over time, drivers have kind of gotten into a habit of thumping tires, and that can work okay to determine if you have a flat tire, you can probably pick that out.
Right.
But if your tire's just underinflated and you have a slow leak, you might not catch that by thumping the tire. So you really have to get out there with an air gauge and, in dual tandem, situations.
Right.
It's a little tougher to get the tire in the back sometimes, but you know what? So it's a little bit more work. So, we've got to train our drivers to make sure that they're, checking the tire pressure, not just thumping tires. And because that is one thing that, we've seen a big increase in the number of violations for us. Simply because of the technology that that they have at the scale houses today.
And also, this isn't a way to harass drivers, though I'm sure it probably feels that way to some of them, right? When they're getting shut down. But when you have an underinflated tire, you then run the risk of blowouts. Which, when a tire blows out, even the most skilled driver, there's still opportunity where something's going to happen, because you also
Especially a steer tire, yeah.
right. But even if it's a drive tire, a professional driver is usually going to be skilled enough to address that fairly quickly. What I always worry about, when I was in a safety function, was the unprofessional drivers around them and the motoring public. And so, you can't predict what their skill level is going to be. And so, control the controllables, and that tire pressure is one of the controllables.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is a great device for enforcement to have. It really helps them do their job. which is to make sure that the roadways are safe. Right?
Absolutely.
We don't want drivers going up and down the road and having that blow out where they could potentially lose control or debris could hit a vehicle next to them or something like that.
Yep.
So,
Right.
it's a great tool for them to have. But it just takes a little bit more education on our side with our drivers to make sure that they're using tire gauges when they're checking the tires.
For sure.
So we're gonna come up on time here, Randy. But I absolutely, you're where do you live? I know
Minnesota. Yeah.
you're in Egan for Dart. I live in Lakeville, so
Okay.
so I'd absolutely love to get together with you and do maybe a whole hour, half hour, or something like that sometime soon. Talk through a bunch of different stuff. We can get together and talk through that. We run the podcast every Thursday for an hour.
Okay.
So, and we haven't really done much around the safety platform at all. So I think that would be great. As we're sitting here talking about it, it just kind of came to mind that this would be a good thing to bring forward.
That'd be awesome.
So
Yeah, I would be willing,
Drive
definitely
forward.
willing to do that.
a good thing to drive forward. There you go. So, and
Randy, where do people find you?
Pardon me?
Where do people find you, either online or how do they get a hold of you?
Yeah, I can give you all my information.
no,
well, for
put it
the
out now.
viewers.
There's people watching.
Oh, okay.
Unless you don't want to know.
No, I'm
just
not.
Dart
I'm-
Transit.
Yeah, I'm RLUCKOW at dart.net.
Dart.net.
Yep,
So,
dart.net.
all right.
So our Luckow at dart.net.
Perfect. Can I get you a shirt here?
Oh, sure.
What size?
XL.
XL.
They run small.
Not two.
2XL.
2XL. All right, right here. And if anyone's here and wants a shirt, swing on by. So booth 125 across from Monster by the Puppy Park.
Yes.
So-
Thanks a lot.
But
Thanks,
thank
Randy.
you so
Appreciate
much for coming, Randy. We
Thanks a lot,
appreciate
Randy.
it.
Appreciate it.
Next up, we have Larry Kerr from EBE Technologies. So, Mike, do you mind grabbing Larry? Or actually, I got his eye, so we're good. So that's I needed more time for safety.
Yeah, no, definitely.
That,
What are we
that,
doing?
that time.
Your
What are we
costume's on, sir.
Seat's still warm.
Yeah, right. Larry Robert Bain. Nice to meet
Robert,
you.
how are you?
Fantastic.
You're gonna wanna eat the mic.
Yeah, right here.
So,
All right.
Perfect.
Yeah. If you want to adjust it, there's a little spinny thing here. Just
Did you
type-
clean any germs off this thing or
Yeah,
what?
they're self-cleaning.
Oh
Larry.
yeah,
Don't
I'm
worry
sure they
about
are.
it.
Like a toilet.
We clean them every day.
Yes.
We clean them every day.
We do wipe it down. We do wipe it down.
So you're the first person to ever ask me that question.
Well, God, that's an obvious question.
But that being said, yeah, it has crossed our mind, and we clean them. So, but
Not like I'm a germaphobe or anything.
right. No, it has
It's like we had some event 4 years ago that freaked everybody out. Weird.
yeah. No, it's not like germs can do anything.
No,
So, but
after some of the ones I've had, I'm pretty immune to a lot.
to that point, before we get into introductions, when we were at Manifest, they had these AI helmet things that were on, and they weren't wiping them down
Oh, that was gross. That was nasty.
before, and everybody was just slapping them on. And I really would have liked to try one out, but I walked up and they either didn't have wipes out or they were whatever. And I was looking at them going, yeah, no, that's not going to work for me. So, and that was a hard pass.
Yeah.
But, so Larry, why don't you introduce yourself and tell us about EBE just a little bit?
Sure. I'm Larry Kerr. I'm CEO of EB Technologies. We're a 51-year-old software development company, and we focus in content management, AI for enterprise trucking and logistics solutions.
I wish I had some answer to what we do that was that fast, but that was a
Well, did-
lot of words in a short period of time.
Well, did you watch the show this morning?
I did.
Be able to explain what you do in 12 seconds. I just did it.
I did, and I'm paying a marketing firm right now a lot of money to come up with that.
Yeah, we
very
need
short
that.
stint.
Well,
So,
It's tough.
yeah.
I'll do it for less.
What? So yeah, we do cool shit. That's
We do. Our life is dope. We do dope shit. Nate swore first.
So,
So I'm very clear.
I
Nate
know.
swore
I was
first.
about to say, is this
So-
gonna be?
so-
Am I getting arrested for the F?
Yeah.
Oh no!
I guess
If they're coming
because-
for anybody, it's coming for me.
because we are using the speaker. We probably need to be a little careful.
F it.
So, but all right. So EB 51 years. That means you started there when you were in
11.
diapers. Yeah.
Yeah,
Perfect.
I had the idea. I was 11 years
Yeah,
old.
11 years old. You
Well
took
ahead
it-
of my
You
time.
took it up. Your dad.
He
founded
did,
it, correct?
1973.
So, 1973. I was not born yet.
No.
that?
But we sold baling machines and calculators. So that
Wow.
was very high tech back then.
Gotcha. And what transitioned to the current business model?
Oh, again, we managed to stay one step ahead of
Yeah.
the commodity curve. So we kind of went into word processing and networking, and we started doing imaging in the mid 80s, which is probably 15 years before we should have. But
Yeah.
I look at that as tuition. We spent a lot of money, but
Sure.
we learned a lot. So that was good.
Right.
So,
That's awesome.
So today, what are your primary business lines?
well, we really are, as I mentioned, enterprise. On the financial side, we kind of broke our company into two divisions. There's the human resources side and financials. We've just launched a product we call Beyond AI, which allows us to capture documents on a cell phone or other devices, and we send it up to a cloud, and we do unstructured OCR on it, and which is basically eliminating data entry.
Okay.
And then we do validations in the dispatching system. Is this order rated? Has it been billed before? And really do all those data checks, if you will. And if everything's correct, we can update the TMS, and we have bots that will close out that order in the TMS system. So a lot of our customers are looking at the hire, train, repeat for data entry. It's a very high turnover.
Right.
So
Right.
now we're really using those billers, if you will, to fix problems and not do data entry. So we kind of, our OCR interface corrections is about a 5-minute learning curve, and
Right.
it's available to anybody in the world because it's on Azure. So you can use, we have clients that are using the night dispatcher to do billing now. So it's,
Sure.
you're getting a pretty big ROI on it, and these shippers anymore want information immediately, so it
Right.
really accelerates the ability to get that information
And
out.
it focuses the seat level person on exception management versus
Exactly.
all of it. That's excellent.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Every tracking company you go to, there's these people in billing that have been there for 15 years. Again, those are the people you want to keep and let them
Right.
do the heavy lifting, if you will. Then the turnover folks really are can be replaced by, you can outsource much more simpler interfaces and processes.
Right.
We have the persona called Sally in accounting,
Right.
which Sally has been there 25, 35, 45 years.
Yeah.
And Sally is the queen of the company.
Yep.
Her drivers will be paid.
She'll probably outlive all three of us.
Yes,
She'll be
yes,
there when we're
yes.
done.
100%.
Absolutely. I know a lot of Sallys. And, there's a Sally in accounting that always comes to mind. She currently works for a carrier. She had her 45th anniversary at that carrier. She used to work for me, and that carrier posted a picture of her, and I almost came to tears because I thought she had retired. And but that's honestly, when I wrote the persona for Sally in accounting, I was thinking of that person, and he is the epitome of that person. And almost every carrier in North America has a Sally in accounting.
Yeah.
So,
Yep.
So the cool thing is we also decoupled this from our back end. So we have carriers that may be using other document management systems. So
Right.
our goal is, again, front end those, let them do the storage and printing, but we're going to do really the RPA and OCR ahead of those. And so far, things are going real well.
Good. You did send me a link to a video. Instead of occupy 3 or 4 minutes of our interview of 15 minutes, I'm gonna add the link on to the interview session
Okay, cool.
afterwards.
Perfect.
And then so people can see it in the comments of the broadcast here. So
Okay.
we'll add it on later because it has a lot of talking in it. I didn't want to occupy
Yeah, that's fine.
a third of our
Yeah,
discussion.
We named our RPA persona Emily.
Emily.
Yes.
Yep. So, and where did Emily come from? Where did the name Emily come from?
Well, it's a long story. I probably shouldn't be talking about it, but anyway.
That's how
These
they
are
all
exactly
are
the stories
named.
I want to hear.
That's
Well, I
how
wanted
they
to
all
name her Renee after my wife, and that got shot down by marketing. So I didn't bring it up to my wife to let her know that she was rejected as our RPA name.
He fought for it. I promise. For that. He absolutely fought for it.
Yes, but no, everybody has an Emily that's a kind, fun Emily, and
Yeah.
so we went with Emily, and she works 24/7, 365 days a year.
Perfect. Perfect. Love it. So we have 5 minutes left. What is next? What's the initiatives at EBE here over the next year or two?
Again, we're building out the RPA for a non-asset configuration as well as asset, and we've just launched our version 6 of our safety and performance software. So that's all coming out, and again, we really think everything's coming down to RPA and phones. Again, as quickly as you can, you gotta, we've been talking about accelerating the speed of information.
Yeah.
And that's really what we're focused on, really in multiple departments. Again, scorecards and shippers, especially with capacity being fairly loose, again, they're forcing carriers to do a lot of things.
Right.
And so you've got to be able to do it and do it well, or again, you're not looking for another customer.
Right. With the non-asset folks, what are some of the bigger challenges you're seeing with them as you move into this market?
Well, again, some of the issues of getting all the right paperwork at the right time and making sure that this is like a rate con, did you bill correctly? So now if you can OCR all that information, validate it, you're again down to working by exceptions, but you've got a carrier settlement rather than a driver settlement. So there are a few different documents, but all in all, it's kind of the same thing with a couple of ripples there and different TMS systems.
Yes, many, plus the homegrown ones too. Which make it even
Exactly.
Yeah, there's many. And, it's something to call out too is, we work with you guys all the time, and we've had a great relationship with EBE. I think we counted, and we're over 40 common customers with EBE. We work with maybe 300 fleets on a, and maybe some of those we don't know, but excuse me, we have a great relationship with Larry and your company. So
we use your products really as an extension of workflow. So if we need to send something out to a mobile comm device, what have you, again, we just have that integration where we're sending information back and forth. It's just a great way to keep the drivers up to speed.
That's on the integration side, which we don't even have that one up here, but just on the managed services and consulting side, we work all the time.
And we have a lot of mutual customers, which is great.
So it's been, I think you and I met each other maybe 6-7 years ago, something like that.
Yeah, and I think we had phone calls and email. I don't think we actually met each other for 2 years. It was like long distance dating.
I think it was. I think it was at a very small airport.
So
finally, at one time,
you initially started contact 6 years ago and didn't meet till a couple of years later.
Right.
So you guys became virtual friends before it was cool.
Yeah.
Right.
That's
Right.
awesome.
Yeah, we're just so
Lots
busy.
of
We never
phone
had
calls.
time to see each other.
Right.
Yeah, I was up in Minnesota
Yeah,
visiting
yeah.
a customer. Nate showed up in the airport where I flew away with the car keys with the rental car.
Yeah. That's right. So I had that kind of impression on Larry that he forgot to leave his keys.
Yeah. I did get a call over the radio letting me know that I was.
Should you turn around and?
No, I just went home and FedExed them. So
Fair enough.
it would have cost me $200 to
Yeah,
turn around.
yeah,
I'm like,
yeah.
I'll FedEx them. That'll work.
That
It was good fun. We appreciate the relationship, and business is good.
Yeah, good.
Everyone's happy about that.
Fantastic.
So where can people find EB? Where can people find you?
Our website, again, is a good place to start, eb-inc.com. I think, that's
Okay, eb-inc.com.
inc.com. Or just Google EB Technologies, and we're at all the major shows. Again, I think you and I are kind of the road kings when it comes down to going to shows. So a lot of opportunity to talk.
Great.
Absolutely.
Great.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, we appreciate you coming on, Larry.
As well.
Absolutely.
Happy to have you on the show another time too.
Safe
So,
travels.
Yeah,
All
me
right.
too.
I'll do a fist bump
Fist
because
bump.
we lack space here. So,
I appreciate
right.
the Mont Blanc. That's
so our
nice.
next guest, I'm going to hand the phone to somebody, and then you can watch. You can walk the conference.
Oh, there we go. So we're gonna run this live.
No, this is just walk the conference. You can't hear through there.
Interesting. The speaker's not working though.
The speaker's not working.
So we're saying just walk the conference with the phone. We just do it live, folks. That's all we do. We just do it live.
We just go live. So, and then we get loud.
Yep. Sometimes.
And then we have a technical issue.
Yes. So you just literally, and not just us, not just our area, but literally the whole thing. Just walk it.
Hold on.
You gotta add that image. Hey, there we go.
There we go. All right. Now just go walk.
So we've got our fantastic marketing department showing us
Walking
everything
around.
going on. That's fair. So this is gonna be just I can't see what's going on with the conference walk, which is fine.
Yeah. Well, it's if I took us off, then we lose our audio.
Right,
I
right.
think I can make them larger. So we'll try this.
It was wild. It's like we're doing this over here. They're making TikToks next door with our neighbors. We got Monster across the way. They had haircuts going on. I got all lined up at the puppy park. Like it is just party central. Basically,
Yeah.
at our booth.
Ooh, look at this.
Ooh,
I don't know how to change the.
I am so handsome. So what y'all miss is, as we've been doing this now for going on day 5 or 6, right? Nate and I are starting to get a little slap happy.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I wasn't feeling the best last night or the night before. And so I just start getting silly. I'm walking around in this big cowboy hat with chip clips on each end, which made it look even bigger. And there was some setup for another conference that's here. And it had the letters ME all lit up.
Oh, yeah. I gotta
And
get that picture.
So I took a video and just, again, being silly, being me, mentioned that I love trucks, I love trucking, I love logistics, but most importantly, I love me.
You love you.
I do.
We all know that.
Correct. That's the only way you can love anything else if you love you. So I love me, and I hope you love you too. I think we're almost ready for our next guest.
We are Mr. Tim Chrulski. Mr. Tim Chrulski, and we'll let marketing keep walking. So
Tim
it seems
Chrulski,
pretty
come on
good.
down.
This is another level. We'll have to do this again with
So the chair is very sturdy. It's just low and small.
Well, just got to give me a minute to hobble on over.
There you go. So talk
Need me close?
eat the mic.
Okay.
Eat the mic.
I'm somewhat familiar.
Yep, and feel free to just spin this loose and bring it up, and then this thing slides here. So there's a screw right here, so you don't have to lean forward, or just slide the base towards you. Just
Base is easier. So I'll back towards it.
So as we're doing this,
There you go.
as we're doing this, Tim, we got our marketing person walking around the conference taking video. So
I'd love some chorus on my voice, maybe a little bit
a little bit
kidding.
more
I'm
bass.
kidding. I'm
You
totally
Get some auto tuning here. And
yeah.
Ooh, we got the
we have
you know.
sounds. Since when do we have sounds?
I've looked at that board. That's a pretty unique board.
Yeah, it's a good one.
It's the puppy face.
Yeah.
I'm so excited right now.
I didn't show you those toys yet
On
because I had a
purpose.
feeling you would be like,
And I was like holding my left arm, like, don't do it, don't do it.
There's a good B-roll clip right there.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, absolutely.
all right, Mr. Chrulski.
Chrulski.
Dang it!
Hey, you're gonna be all right. It's okay.
I'll get it. I'll get it at some point. I knew I've screwed your name up like 10 times now. So
That's all right.
all
Then
right.
that means anything I've done wrong, no one actually really knows it was me.
Yeah,
That's
sure.
true.
It is a tough one though. I'll give you that.
Yeah.
I mean, that's it
It
does
is.
not sound like it's spelled. So, but all right. Well, tell us a little about yourself. Tell us where you're from and what you do.
Sure, happy to. So I work for a family-owned trucking business out of Northwest Ohio, Findlay, Ohio. The name of that company is Garner Trucking. They've been in business since 1960, dry van fleet. And I've been fortunate to be a part of the organization since 1997. So if you do the quick math, I'm getting ready to celebrate 27 years with them this year.
Hey,
Wow.
congratulations.
Yeah, thank you.
Awesome.
Thank you.
27 years with them. Now, how long in the industry?
27 years.
27.
Oh, wow.
Every last bit of it's
Oh,
been
wow.
with Garner Trucking.
That's-
Yeah.
Almost unheard of these days.
Unique.
Oh,
Very unique.
Well, I am Gen X. We were raised that you go somewhere and you stay, right?
yeah, we were.
And I am the opposite, where I'm like, nah, man, if I don't like the look of the carpet piece, we're out of here.
I would have loved to have done that. I just didn't have the opportunity. Everybody keeps selling.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
And
fair.
then finally I said, you know what, I'm doing my own thing, and I'm on iteration number 4, 3 of which I are doing well.
Yep.
The first one maybe not so much, but
You learn some lessons. You know?
I got my doctorate in transportation on the first go. But
There you go.
that's why the 3 are going pretty well. So
I
and
w-
number
I would
4
say-
is coming out soon.
I would say though,
or
you
5.
know, as far as Garner's concerned, you know, where I've been most fortunate is that
there's been allowance and there's an investment that's happened over the years. You know, I started as a truck driver.
Okay.
Same here.
And yeah, so we get to know the industry at the critical level, the most important level, the folks that are actually moving the industry, and to be able to, you know, be a part of that to start with, and be trusted to get into recruiting and sales and operations and all the things that I've been allowed to do over the years, and the investment that they've made, it makes that commitment a little easier too.
Sure.
Yeah, no, I agree. And having that information or that knowledge from behind the wheel, applying it to today is just super valuable.
It's invaluable when you're talking to customers. Because let's be real, if you are customer facing and you've been behind the wheel, 99.9% have never been behind the wheel of a truck.
Exactly right.
And the closest they ever come is they happen to look outside the window. So it's huge to be able to speak to their freight, their needs. I think to me, it's very much like, you know, I think everybody should work in retail or restaurants for a little bit.
Mhm.
Everybody who works in logistics should be behind the wheel at least once, or at least go for a ride.
Yeah, and get a general feel of what actually it takes to get the job done every day.
Yeah, for sure.
Absolutely. So you also are very involved with TCA.
Absolutely.
So
Yep.
tell us
Chairman of
a
the
little
membership committee. I'm starting my third year, I guess. Finishing my third year. I'm not sure.
It's all a blur, right?
Yeah, I've been doing it for a bit, and very honored to be a part of that particular program. We've taken that committee met, you know, on a semi-annual basis, and then we've turned it into a committee that meets every month. The most critical part, I think, for any organization would be the recruiting, right?
Right.
And this, you know, the membership is an extension of that for sure. So we meet on a monthly basis and have those conversations regularly. We've been able to bring in and help spawn some programs like the Elevate program that they just announced,
Right.
and our Champions Club, and some of those things that really have an impact for not only today but for tomorrow for the industry.
Can you talk about the Elevate program? Can you tell folks what that is?
Yeah, I can talk a little bit about it.
Okay,
Very little.
sure.
So I was on the committee. I didn't head that committee, but was a part of it.
Right.
And basically the goal there is we all know that we have those up and coming leaders in each and everyone's organization that really have that hunger for the next step, where you see something in them. And it much like being a new member or first time attendee for a TCA conference, it's a little intimidating, right?
Yeah.
You're stepping into a new world with people you don't know, and now you just got to kind of figure things out.
Right.
Well, I think a program like Elevate does exactly that. It takes those younger executives and starts to show them kind of a bigger world, what the impact of TCA is, and what kind of impact they can have within the industry. It just starts that growth process, starts that education process for those individuals that are on a trajectory for leadership.
Awesome.
That's awesome. Yeah. No, that's great.
I wish that was available to me when I started.
Right. Right.
Very
Yeah. It was, when I started, it was, here's the keys, let's go.
Yeah.
And then
Don't screw it up.
Figure it out.
Yeah.
So
Speaking of our awesome marketing department,
awesome. Yeah. I've been hanging around with you too
dude,
much.
what?
So
Seriously.
I was literally gonna,
We've been on the road
Say,
together
hold
for
on.
7 days now.
yeah.
Okay.
They came into Chicago
Okay.
on Tuesday of last week, had dinner with me and my wife, and then we got on the road to Louisville to go to Matt's Wednesday. And yeah, other than sleeping, we basically been together the entire time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hanging out.
Yeah.
You're getting
And
one
to be
brain
honest with you,
now.
I'm really not I get annoyed with people after a while. I'm really not getting that annoyed with, I mean, maybe just a little bit.
At least I'm
But-
a good storyteller.
Yeah. Maybe just a little bit, but no, you're a good storyteller, but I'm really not getting that annoyed by it. So, so I am ready to call it a couple of events though. It's,
Yeah.
This has been a great event. So Tim, we got a few minutes left. I actually am going to be reaching out to you because I want to do a lot more talking about what we're about to talk about. I got super excited when you started talking to me about the program that you're participating with, which is the FMCSA. And well, why don't you tell me about the program, because you have all the correct terminology.
Absolutely. So
Tell us.
FMCSA put together a program to test market having 18 to 21 year old drivers behind the wheel, getting them trained safely, properly, to see if they could handle interstate travel. Now today you can do intrastate travel. We actually have an apprenticeship program since 2015 for that.
Right.
But the simple fact of the matter, and especially if you know anything about geography, right?
Right.
For the state of Ohio, for example, I can have a driver drive in the state of Ohio from Cincinnati to Cleveland or Columbus and back. No problem. You're talking between 100 to 200 miles, depending on the trip you're talking about. But I cannot have them cross the state line into Kentucky, which is 5 miles.
Right. That's
Right.
the same, same beef I've had forever.
Yeah, it doesn't
I
make
live in-
any sense.
I live in Chicago. I can drive to Springfield. My son can. He's 20 years old. If he had a CDL, he could drive to Springfield. He can't drive to Kenosha.
Yeah, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense, does it?
No sense.
So from that standpoint, I think the FMCSA has the right tracks. They have this Drive Safe program that carriers can become part of, and we're proud to be a part of that. There are about 34 carriers that are involved with the program right now. Last I checked, and this information is about a month old, there are about 13 that have finished that program and they have a certificate that says that they can cross state lines.
Right.
The amazing part is that Garner Trucking has 3 of those 13
That's awesome.
apprentices.
I appreciate you guys.
That's
doing
awesome. That's so cool.
You know, my angle, and we were talking about this at Matt's, is when a I'm going to say kid, when a kid graduates high school, there's no career path to be a driver.
No.
You have to go do something else for 3 years and then decide I want to come back. And that is a problem for quality, I believe. And so someone may want to go down this career path and they can't. And so they're going to go explore some other career path for a while. And that, I think, loses a potential quality driver just entirely. Not to mention it creates a hiccup in our industry that allows for succession. I mean, maybe, you know, it's a good thing to go do a driving career for 10 years from 18 to 28 and then start looking at office positions. You and I started as drivers. I was 21. You know, I think that was one of the best things I ever did. And it's something that qualifies me to business leaders, to everyone in the industry. And I can go swing with drivers at Matt's and talk about everything with them. And I have no problem with that. Yet, you know, I can come here and talk with every business leader out there. So, but I think that program I am super excited about.
Same.
And
Well, I think that's one of the big things that you know, selfishly I do want to talk about is the fact that there are only 34 carriers in the United States. They need 3,000 of these individuals, these candidates, to make it a viable program that they can study and understand what the overall impact is going to be. And I think one of the things that you've got a couple of barriers here, right? So you have the insurance companies that say, no way, you're not putting an 18-year-old behind the wheel. We've got to do something about that. You have carriers that may not have camera equipment. It's a requirement for the program, so you do have to have cameras in the trucks, and that's all part of that monitoring. And frankly, why wouldn't you want that? Especially, you know, as you're training a different age group, and we're getting comfortable with how they're going to operate and how they do things.
Especially considering some of the other habits.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Well, and that's another important discussion. But I think what we found with our group, again, we've got 3 drivers that all 3 of them, and to your point, Nate, they wanted to come into the industry. They want to be a part of things. They want this career path. Whereas the you and I's of the world, I came into the industry at 25 years of age. I came from a different background. I went and did some college, found out how fun college can be, but didn't apply myself at that time. So after doing that, you get married, you start in a different career path. I'm selling soft drinks for a living, and realized one day this isn't going to work for me long term.
Right.
So I'm so thankful to find this path to trucking, and just think what would have happened if I didn't have to worry about that, if I could have done that at 18 years of age.
Yeah.
And let's be real, if you look at, I mean, the data is there. I'm sure you see quite a bit of this, Tim, that the driver population is aging. We know that. Like, we've known that for a long time. And I don't want to go down the driver shortage path. I think there's a whole conversation there around shortage versus utilization. But at some point, people do want to retire. You're not going to have the wheel forever. And we do have to, you know, and they said we have to have a succession plan for that population. It's not going to be the bots. The robots are not ready for it. And
Neither are we.
no, we're not. And definitely there is not a single insurance company ready for when that autonomous vehicle level 5 rolls over and kills a family of 4. They're not.
Yep.
And so
Right. Agreed.
we have to have drivers. We have to have programs like this. And I love that you guys are championing this, because this industry offers so many opportunities. And I think one of the best ways to start it, to your guys' point, is behind the wheel. You learn so much back there. And, again, what better way to see the country? Get paid to do it.
Yeah. I think part of that big fear is the 18-year-old, that we're putting every 18-year-old in the world
Right.
behind a tractor trailer. That's not the correct way things are done. We don't put every 18-year-old behind a gun either
Correct.
to serve for our country. They're trained properly. There's a small group of individuals that are passionate and want to do that.
Right.
And thank God that they are. And I think the trucking industry can do the same thing.
And they have a system for it. It's a pretty
Yes.
proven system.
Exactly right.
Tim, I'm going to get you a shirt, and why I'm getting you a shirt, I'm assuming 2X or 3X.
You can assume 3.
All right.
I
fair
need all
enough.
3 of them.
And we get big shirts for big guys here. So,
All right.
You're
but
the man.
where can people find you?
Well, I do my own little podcast locally for Garner Trucking. It's called Beyond the Cab, so that's a great place to have access
All right.
to some good content.
Love that.
And we just did a podcast with our apprentices just to kind of highlight what their backgrounds are and what their story
Is that live yet?
Yeah,
Oh,
absolutely. It's
fantastic.
out
Make sure
there
to check
for
that
you.
out.
Yeah.
Yep. Otherwise, you can find me in Findlay, Ohio most of the time, unless I'm in Nashville.
Fair enough. Fair
On
enough.
LinkedIn, I assume.
Yeah, absolutely. on
Awesome.
LinkedIn.
Awesome.
And it's Tim
Chrulski.
Chrulski, Chrulski.
Perfect.
So, all right. Thanks for coming by. We really appreciate
Thanks,
it.
gentlemen.
Thanks, Tim. Great meeting you.
And I got to do a fist bump because we don't have enough room to shake.
Luckily, I'm sure.
All right. Yeah.
Thanks,
yeah.
guys.
Yeah. Thanks a lot, Tim.
Thanks for letting me do that.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
All right. We have J.S. Bouchard,
Oh, this is going to be good.
Chief Product Officer with Isaac Instruments, coming up next.
JS, come on down.
Come on down. Here we go.
You were going to toss this on, sir. We ready? So my biggest advice is make sure to eat the mic.
Yep. Just
Then
eat
you
the mic when you talk, and you
adjust
should be
how you
good.
want to. It'll come like this. So yeah, just talk right into
And
it.
you should-
Am I allowed to talk now?
You're
Absolutely,
allowed
sir.
to talk. You
Okay,
you
good.
talk. So thanks for joining us. We appreciate it. So JS, so this is Robert Bain. I don't know if you guys have been introduced yet.
Very briefly. Yep.
Briefly, yeah, Robert. Very nice to see you again.
Yes, absolutely,
So-
sir.
Thanks for joining us. And JS, tell us a little bit about yourself and Isaac Instruments.
Thank you, Nate. Thank you so much for inviting me here, guys. Really much appreciate it. Myself, I've been part of Isaac since its inception. I'm a computer engineer. I graduated from university, met Jacques, David, the 2 other co-founders, and we started building that telemetry box to bring race cars quicker around a racetrack. And we quickly realized that it's going to be really hard to do a business with people that make it a hobby and just want you to sponsor them and make it for free. So-
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah.
so even though we enjoyed it quite a lot, we ended up trying to see how can we use that telemetry box to, what can we leverage with it? And we quickly ended up in trucking, trying to get truck drivers more fuel efficiently from point A to point B. That's really what got us in there. First customer approached us saying, "Hey, that driver just turned in 6 miles per gallon on that load. And I know my best driver would have done 7, but with the data I have today, I don't know what to tell the driver what he's doing right or wrong. How can he improve?" And that's really how we got into transportation. And
Wow.
We've just enjoyed it all along. Today, transportation is all we do. It's all we've done for the past 10 years. And we take a lot of pride in just making customers happy with our solution, growing with our solution, and bringing good references back. So we just build on that. So that's really how we see the world.
No, that's a great story. So how long did you spend? So first off, what type of racing was it?
We had some open wheels, some NASCAR, Canadian NASCAR,
Wow.
Formula Atlantic,
Just
IndyCar Light. We were everywhere and moving from one racetrack to the other on the weekend, one pit lane to the other.
That's a rough
being
life.
asked, what's the top speed of the other guy? I don't know, man. Even though you've seen it, you have to claim,
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
We're Switzerland. I can't tell you that.
Right.
No, that's really cool that it led there. I always kind of wondered that story, and then what. So specifically, what I mean, I that was a brief segue to trucking, but what? Give me just a 60-second segue to trucking. So going from the speedway to the highway.
Yeah,
that was actually pretty good.
That was
But
solid.
going
That
from the
was good. I like
speedway
that.
to the
Very
highway.
solid.
So, what was the journey there?
So we started with just the telemetry box. Really, like the goal was to coach driver, give them some feedback, some reporting on how well they drove. It started with the fuel efficiency, but quickly went into safety. Like how could we detect hard brakes and hard turns and anything that would detect like safety altogether. That's way before cameras were even available.
Right.
We're talking like 2005, 2006 here. We did that for a little bit and then came out like 2013 is when we came out with the rest of the solution, really like the telematic device with, navigation and ELD and DVIR and integration to dispatch for workflow. Like our customers were saying, look, like we can't handle like 3 vendors in the cab. Like we need all
Right.
this to be one
Yeah,
box.
one thing.
One thing that does it all. Like we love the coaching. And for us to put a screen in the truck really opened up like the actual real-time coaching component, which is the Isaac Coach today, which really sets us apart a little bit from everybody else. And we're pretty unique in that sense where we're going to tell the driver, it's not just after the fact, we'll tell him how good or bad he was with moving the truck from point A to point B to generate fuel efficiency. It's also like the 3 circles a driver sees that will tell him how much pedal to apply to just in the fuel efficient, portion of that truck. Take an example like a tanker truck that's loaded one way, empty the other way. It's the same 500 horsepower engine,
Right.
both ways. The driver derates it. Driver controls the fuel consumption. That's how we help.
Sure.
Gotcha.
No.
So it levels that consistency off.
Exactly.
Gotcha.
And like anyone that you've heard implemented like a bonus program in the past on MPG, really hard to manage. Drivers don't
Right.
want to take that load because it's too heavy.
Yep.
They don't want to use that truck because it's too old. They don't want to take that lane because it's got hills. Like with the Isaac Coach, we just take all those parameters out of the equation. It's just about what the driver control, which is the pedals, the RPM. That's all the driver needs to do. Just accelerate progressively, coast as much as you can, and the Isaac Coach will reward you. And if a driver did 95, whether he did 95%, whether he did city or highway, we know he did the best job he could ever done with that truck.
Just takes the equipment out of it entirely.
Equipment, load, temperature, conditions.
All the variables outside of
all
their
the
control.
variables are
Even the individual who may be feeling a certain type of way that day, it's hey, this is data. You respond to the data.
exactly. It's very factual. So it makes it really easy to put a bonus or a program around it. It's an effort to drive a truck well and to drive fuel efficiently. It's not easy. So what fleets can do today, like split the difference. Like let's keep portion for the fleet, give some back to the driver.
Right.
We have tools to let them know how much they've saved, and they can use that to calculate and know how much they're going to turn back.
Now, can the driver see that somewhat real time?
Real time on the tablet. Yeah, that's what I meant by it. Like getting the tablet in the truck for doing the ELD and the navigation and all that opened up the real-time coaching at the same time, which was the really big plus for that component of our solution. Because before then, the driver would see after the fact on a report, here's how well you've performed with the pedal. And, we couldn't give him real-time gauges. Opening the real-time gauges was a game changer because now the driver really gets it right away. Oh, that's what the system wants me to do. Boom. Okay, I'll keep doing it. That's easy. It requires an effort, but if they're rewarding me
Sure.
for it, why not?
Right.
It's win-win.
Absolutely.
Well, anytime you reward or compensate, you're going to get behavior change.
Yeah,
So,
exactly.
so what else at Isaac? What else are you guys up to?
Our goal, like our number one end user is the truck driver. Of course, like we have a portal for back office user and
Right.
whatnot, but when you count number of users, is the guys holding the tablet when they're at a stop, right? Then our goal is to make it super simple for them. Like, fleets have been getting pressure from shippers to build more automation. With GLCS, you guys are involved with that, with all that integration that you need to build, like so they can automate EDIs back to the shipper for arrivals, departures. Where's my load, right? That's what the shipper wants to know. And that's increased the pressure on what the driver needed to fill in
Right.
terms of information. It like when you look at the past, like from 2005 until 2020, it's been an increasing array of forms, of fields, of amount of information they're querying from drivers. And when you think about it, a driver took that job to drive a truck, not to fill in data on a tablet, right?
Right.
That's the part they don't like.
Absolutely.
And while he does that, the wheels are not turning. Like the company's not generating like a revenue. He's not making a pay because he's paid by the mile too. So it's all this. Our goal is really to keep that automation in the back end, but just keep it super simple for them in front of them, minimizing any redundancies, anything that we knew already that we don't need the driver to fill in. Just make that driver experience super simple, step by step. Here's what you need to do, not to forget anything, and just flows back to the back end.
We agree with that completely. I mean, we live that on a day-to-day basis. That's actually the core of the company, that on our side as well as the end user, the driver. You know, if you had that easy button, we would just create the one easy button.
There you go.
Absolutely.
That's the end goal, but I don't know if we're going to get there quite yet. But somewhere down the road, you know, I mean, some of the things that are happening are getting to that point where you have some great automation. You have, I mean, you guys and a bunch of other vendors are definitely targeting that beautiful automation.
It's number one.
Yeah, definitely
It's a
taking
priority.
it away from it.
And fleets have different needs, and even like within the fleet, they have different divisions that have different need. And the
Right.
goal is just to present to the driver what he needs to see, what he needs to do, just to keep it simple and guide him step by step. Like, you know what happens in TMW suite when a depart shipper arrives after the arrived shipper
Right.
or before the arrived shipper?
Yeah,
It just messes everything
Yeah,
up, right?
everything's toast.
So I don't want the driver to remember to do all this in the right order. I just want to dictate to him, here's what you need to do. Here's the next screen. Boom, boom, boom.
Yep.
And just present to him what he needs to fill, what he needs to see. I want you back on the road as quickly as you can once you're done.
Excessive workflow. If you don't have to have it, the driver doesn't even have to touch it. That's better. That's
way better.
managed by exception. But we're actually talking with another company that it was not exception management. It was like pre-exception management. So before they even saw an exception, they were predicting the exception before it even happened. So, which I thought was kind of confusing, but
That feels like Minority Report. You haven't committed the crime, or definitely going to arrest you for it.
But they're handling the exception before it's even exception, and then you know, I thought that was a little heady because if you think the exception is going to happen, isn't that just an exception? But I think when they get to the core of it is they were using some technology to actually blitz the exception and handle it ahead of time. But so reducing the exceptions and just automating that workflow even further.
Exactly.
So if you look back, I mean, I go back to mid '90s, and you look at the data points that we tracked on trucks back to the mid '90s, and there was 30. You look today, and there's hundreds,
Yeah.
if not more. When you pull in maintenance data and you pull in financial data, and you put in actually 2024, right? Is that what we're in?
Yeah, that's right.
2024. 2024. We're going to figure out how many data points. I mean, we're going to start collecting this.
Billions.
Because we need a number, right? We know on the brokerage, on the logistics side, how many data points that our customers track.
Yep.
I want to know how many carrier data points on a holistic carrier when they're running maintenance, when they're running operations, when they're doing all the right things, safety management systems, whatnot. I'd like to get that number because that number is big. And start determining, okay, how can we automate everything? How can we pull these data points down to where they flow very quickly? I mean, you guys are a part of that as well as any of the primary ELDs and the TMSs and everyone else, and start categorizing these data points down to just small pieces. We have an initiative that we're working on too that I should talk to you about at some point about automated orders. So
Looking forward to it.
But and it's just a culmination of various different organizations that come together, and it's here's 5 organizations that can make this part of an order lifecycle work, and here's 5 organizations that can make this part of the order lifecycle work. And if you plug all of them together, you virtually have a no-touch order dispatch system that can go order to cash if all things work. And then you get into the pre-exception management. So So with that being said, anything else? I mean, I think we need to kind of wrap
I mean,
stuff up,
I think you're talking about like data. Like we collect a ton of data, and
Right.
that's what we use for the Isaac coach. I think like what the future reserves to us is what we do with this data. That's where I think AI comes into play, because we are, we want more data, but we want to present less data to the customer. But we want more data to make the decision. And like our goal being like trying to predict drivers leaving, like driver retention. What if I could
Right.
tell you there's a 70% chance this driver will leave your company in a week? What are you going to do with that information? Pick up the
That's-
phone, call the guy.
That's
Right?
huge.
Right.
Yep.
Right.
I mean, predicting the risk of a driver having an accident, predicting the claim you're going to get from that crash.
Mhm.
That's the kind of stuff that we look at when we're looking at the data that we're gathering, and everything that we do in the back end with it today, with all the AI processing that we're doing on it, and getting customers to help us teach. That's where it's AI, the algorithm, so that it just improves with time to learn from the actual behaviors.
So many years ago, not actually that many years ago, but a few years ago, we went down the road of that with a few people at another organization I was with, and we came up with some interesting stuff. But it almost became the Spider-Man scenario of with great power came great responsibility.
Yep.
And we didn't know what to do with the information that we had, because if you released it into the wind, that I don't think the industry was ready for it yet. And so it was just a table.
I'd
And
be
said,
interested to see how, if you're predicting human behavior, which right, wrong, or different, how that plays out.
Yeah.
With the driver population, and then also with the motoring public, if somehow they ever see it.
Because at the end of the day, like AI for us is usable for predicting the future, right? That's you're trying to see the pattern,
Yep.
and that's going to
Absolutely.
generate like that. When you've seen that pattern
The
before,
probability.
it ended up in a big crash of such a claim or whatever.
Yep.
That's what we're trying to train the actual AI models to learn and predict those patterns
Right.
that brought us those incidents we don't want to see anymore.
And then I can see the flip side of, well, there was I liken it to if you're watching, gridiron football or association football, and they say, oh, well, this shot had 7% chance to go in, but he still scored, right?
Yep.
So if there was a 6% chance of an accident, but it still happened, do you think in a court of law, that's where I get a little concerned too, where somehow that data gets weaponized? Like, well,
right.
doesn't
That's
matter.
where
That
It's not zero.
exactly.
That's where we went with
I
it. Is
think-
we were afraid that
Yeah.
okay, this driver was deemed unsafe by data
Yeah.
standards, so let's just not. The door we were opening was just not a door we were ready to open. So
Don't be careful how you play with the numbers. Kind of what
For
we're
sure.
saying here.
that's where we were going with
So
it.
set
And,
your
and
threshold.
so we
make sure it all
decided to
aligns.
just say we weren't ready.
That's a good point.
And AI may actually, because it can process the data so much faster and in a so much larger way.
Yeah.
The commoditization of it may be a different scenario now than it was 6-7 years ago.
Absolutely.
The possibilities are greater.
You
now
know,
than
with
what they were.
AWS, with Azure, with Google services, like the capacity they're giving us to store in the cloud, the processing power that they give us with all the pre-built like learning algorithms that are AI based that we can use today to kind of like work with that kind of stuff is just amazing.
Yeah.
And I mean, you guys are right. I mean, how we're going to be presenting the information is very essential, and it's really something we
Absolutely.
need to look at. But I think today we're at the point of just showing ourselves that it works, and it
Right.
does really provide something. Once you have the information, it's a question of how do you use it? How do you make it useful so the fleet makes a good decision? And does that create another problem with it?
Right.
That's really where we want to go with this, because, I mean, the amount of data we're collecting it continues to increase. Like, it's not just like with videos, like we're just creating more AI patterns
Right.
that want to collect. Like, who can afford to watch all those videos?
Nobody.
Like nobody.
Nobody. No.
So we need to find a way to identify, let's put it like this, the drivers that you want to spot or deep dive into. So
Right.
then I start digging, and then I'm going to watch this guy, all the videos and everything that he did to get my opinion on it. My question is, what's going to surface to the top that I'm going to tell the safety manager? That's the guy you need to look into.
Right.
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 So he
right.
doesn't need to watch
Yeah, what's the second?
hours and hours of videos that are
As fun
not
as that is.
important.
Absolutely.
With a popcorn is probably pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Exactly.
So,
Exactly.
so I do have to wrap up, mostly because I have to get a booth down.
Yes.
And we have. There's a story behind that one. I have a feeling we could sit here and talk for an hour.
I mean, I love it. So anytime you want,
I really
guys.
enjoyed. I'll probably circle back with you,
Okay.
and we'll have a conversation sometime in the near future. But I actually, yeah, I was wondering how our conversation would go, and I had a feeling it would go this way, and I've enjoyed this one a lot.
Right.
So
Thanks a lot, guys.
I really
Same here.
appreciate you.
JS, where do people find you at?
Say that again.
Where do people find you on LinkedIn, X? Where do people find you?
LinkedIn. I'm not that much on X. Unfortunately, I follow some people on X. I'm not there. LinkedIn is really the place to find me here.
Okay.
100%. I'm really active on LinkedIn and just respond very quickly. So,
Perfect.
Fantastic.
So, and it's J.S.
yeah,
period.
that's for Jean Sebastian if you want to practice your French.
Yeah.
JS is what everybody
Yeah.
calls me JS.
Yeah. No, it's a lot of words to put together.
There you
So,
go. A lot simpler.
all right. Well, I appreciate your time. I appreciate you coming on
Thanks
board.
a lot, guys.
Thank you for sponsoring all the events. Also, it's always great to see your team around. It's like alumni event every time we're around. So
The blue shirts.
yeah, the blue shirts. So we're going. We got the team. We're switching it up a little bit. A lot of gold there too. But yeah, absolutely. So
right.
thank you so much.
Thanks a lot, guys. Have a good one.
Yep.
Thank you.
Oop, we go down on that.
We do, yeah. We're good there.
And then boom and boom. All right. Well, that was an excellent setup. Yeah,
And
JS did a. Oh, we should get him. Can we get JS? Can we get him a shirt?
yeah, she did.
Oh, she did.
Yep,
Okay,
yep,
great.
she got
All right,
it.
perfect.
Can
So,
you believe we're done?
holy cow!
We are done.
It's 7 days for me, 6 days for you.
We've been podcasting for 6 straight days.
Yeah, like I said, I once we put this down, I don't want to look at a mic again for a week.
Yeah, I'm good.
And
I'm
it's gonna
straight.
be, the next thing I got to do is the Tuesday trip next Tuesday.
Right,
So,
right.
so I'm good. I'm gonna take a slow ride home.
Mhm.
I'm probably gonna go back to Louisville
Yeah, that
and,
hotel is
and,
so cool.
and stay at Distal again. Go to Doc.
Yeah.
Hit the chicken. Get the
Yes.
chicken. Have some scotch.
Yeah.
So I loved the new title for Turner. What did we call him? Chief Scotch Officer.
Yep.
So Neil, go ahead. Go. So
Yeah, so get
all
him
right,
in here.
yeah, whatever. Yeah, just go ahead. It's fine. So yeah, Chief Scotch Officer our is Turner. So
Yes.
that's what. Yeah, you're flying out tomorrow at noon. We
Yep.
got our event tonight. We've got who's singing?
Some country.
He's
Yeah.
not country. He's rock.
I don't
He's,
know.
but I don't know. At this point, my mind is a little blended.
I'm pretty mushy right now.
You're pretty mushy.
Yeah, pretty
So,
mushy upstairs. But then I get home tomorrow, Thursday. I'll be downtown Chicago at Will Jenkins'
That's
event,
right.
at the Journey
Will
event.
Jenkins.
So if you're gonna be in Chicago, feel free to come check us out.
Which I may or may not show up to. It's still a little up in the air. If we decide to go past Louisville,
Yeah.
I may end up at Will Jenkins on Thursday. We'll see how that plays out.
And then we've got a week, and then we fly to TIA.
Holy crap! That's already that's right.
Not next week.
Well, you're
so-
going to TIA.
yeah, me and
I'm going
Turner.
on vacation.
Yeah,
So
as you should. You should vacate, sir.
So you and Mike Turner at TIA, and
Yep.
then we have Broker Carrier Summit.
Yes,
coming up
sir.
A few weeks after that, which I've been trying to stay up on the socials on that one here. Why we've been running around at TIA or TCA.
Yep.
There's a lot of T's.
A lot of
T's.
teas. A lot of teas.
Uh,
We've gotten a lot of interest for Kerr Summit here.
Yeah,
recently.
yeah.
Actually, at Matt's too, which is awesome.
right. Lots and lots and lots. So hopefully, and there's a little competition going on right now. I see.
There is.
I saw. So if you are, I'm going to put the banner up here.
Yeah,
on.
definitely.
So if you are looking to come to Broker Carrier Summit, and that is in Kansas City,
Kansas City. Yep.
on what day again?
That's going to be April 22nd through the 24th.
April 22nd through the 24th. So use the 10% off discount GLCS. We would
Save the
very
monies.
much. Oh yeah, save the monies. And let us know if you're coming. Shoot us a message. Just hit us up on LinkedIn or whatever. But use our code. There's a little competition going on right now.
Yep.
We were second,
Yes.
and we are now in third. And I want to be number one. So,
Yeah, so-
we're not far off from number one.
We want to win this one for bragging rights. If we can, I want to have a clean sweep of most used code, best walk-up song, and most attended panel. So we are definitely, I mean, I'm defending champion of the best walk-up song. We're in good standing when it comes to the discount code. So I'm once again asking for your financial support in helping us achieve those goals.
Yes. So, all right. I think let's wrap this one up. I'm getting the outro up wherever the outro is. We're doing the short outros because everyone, if you've been watching, we're way over time.
And we tied.
So, all right. And we got a booth to break down. So stay
we do.
curious, stay informed, and keep pushing the boundaries of what's possible. Until next time, drive forward with purpose and innovation. Thanks for watching.